Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining our Q2'21 Clinked feature releases webinar today. On today's webinar, we have got my colleague Hannah and myself Anna hosting. And on the agenda for today, so we've got Clinked Q2'21 feature releases. These include folder descriptions, task priorities, displaying last active next to usernames, a new update on the guest share, some new options for exporting members, and also a new data storage location, as well as some member rights updates. So after that, we will take you through our resources as usual, and also have a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can just pop them in the chat box below and we'll be able to answer them at the end for you. So just before we get started today, if you could answer the following question, which is how often are you using Clinked today? Just to help us sort of understand how regularly you're using Clinked at the moment, whether it's your day-to-day tool or if it's something that you're using less often, maybe once a week or a few times a month. Okay, so that's really great to see that everyone mostly seems to be using it every day, or if not, at least a few days a week. So thanks everyone for answering. Next, we've just got one more question, which is which of the new features that we're going to be talking about today, which of them seem the most valuable for your business? So out of everything on the agenda, this just helps us understand which features you're most interested in and what we can focus on going forward. Great, so we've got some results in. It looks like the folder descriptions and task priorities are the features most of interest, and also the new guest share option. So thank you all for answering. So now we will get started with the new feature releases. So firstly, the first new feature release is folder descriptions. Now this is a fairly straightforward update. As suggested by the name, you can now add a description to all of your folders. So in order to do this, you just need to go into a folder and then select the plus icon at the top right of the screen. And when you select that, it will just bring up a text box like so, where you can insert the folder description. So you can just add a bit of information regarding what's involved in the folder and what you want maybe your clients to upload or actions you would like them to take. It's up to you really how you use the description, but it's just a nice way to be able to provide a bit more information about a folder. So once you type the text in the box and click save, it will then display like so, just underneath the folder title. So next we've got task priorities. So this is just another nice little update which allows you to prioritize your tasks. So you can now set a priority on each of your different tasks, and these range from low, medium, high, and urgent. So you can just simply add the priority when editing the task or when creating the task, and then it will display a small icon next to the task name, and the icon will be a different color, obviously depending on the priority. So you'll see a green icon for low priority tasks, and a red for urgent or high. So that is just another small update that makes it a lot clearer and easier for you to prioritize your workload. So next we've got displaying last active next to usernames. So this has been a highly requested feature from our clients, which is why we've added it. So now, as a super admin, if you go to the main members overview area, you are now able to see the last activity that was made by a member. So this will include any actions that have been made within the portal. So for example, any of the events that display in the audit trail, that is what would trigger a activity. So that is when you would see the last activity. It's not just when they were last active in the portal, it's when they last have made an action. So that's just useful for you to be able to monitor how regularly your clients are logging in and performing activities. And then lastly, we've got the view only guest share. So previously, you might remember that when you shared content with a guest, they would always be able to download the content. And we received some feedback from clients who said that they didn't want their guests to be able to download content, but only view it. So that's why we have added this new option, which is to be able to allow download of content for guests. So by default, the allow download option will be ticked, but if you want your guests only to be able to view the content, you can just simply untick that box, and they will only have viewing permissions. So I'm just going to pass over to my colleague Hannah now to take you through a few more new features.
Yeah, thank you for that, Anna. So now I'm just going to talk you through our next features that were released in the last quarter. So firstly, we've got the option to export members from the members list. Some of you may use our group data export quite a lot, but now you can actually do this for members at the account level. So to do this, you just need to navigate to your members tab if you're a super admin. And then you will see when you click the drop down on the green box, you'll see that there's a new option there to export your members. And when you do this, it will create a new file, and there'll be a list of all your members across your account. And the file will state the member name, their email, their username, their telephone number, if they've got a telephone number in Clinked. And it will also say if they're enabled or not, and their location and tags. So it's quite useful if you ever want a record of all your members and their abilities in Clinked, and you want to be able to download that information rather than having to always go and look in the members list. Yeah, so that's something that we've added for you recently. And if you are an enterprise customer, we have updated our storage region for data storage. So this doesn't relate to the custom URL or anything, but it's really for just storing your data. So if you are an enterprise client, you can now store it in Canada. And this was something that we was requested by our clients, so we've added that in recently. But to do this, if you're an enterprise customer, you can go to your drop down and then go to your account settings. And if you go to general, and then you'll see that there's that storage region box there. And you'll see you've got the option of Europe, US East, and Canada. So yeah, if you do need to make it Canada, you would just select that and then update it. And then when you want to get the process going, you can email our support team, and we'll put in the steps and contact the developers for you to do that. So that's something that we've recently added, just so that you're aware of that one. And yeah, we've also updated our member naming and the actual invite box. So you probably noticed as you're using your portal that it changed a bit. So now we've just tried to make it a bit more specific when you're assigning a member. So it's sort of now split into account rights and group rights. So you can just sort of assign the two when you invite a new member. So if we firstly just look at the account rights, you'll see there that you've got the three options to assign at the account level. So you've got the super admin, the group creator, and a member. So if you want to make them a super admin, that's basically like the account administrator, and they'll be able to have control over the account and adjust account settings, and they'll be able to invite members and assign groups and things like that, and basically see everything in the account. If you want your member to be that at the account level, you would select super admin. And then if you want them to have the ability to create groups, you would select group creator. But if you don't want them to be a super admin or be able to create groups, just leave them as a member. And then once you've done that, you will need to then assign them to the group. And to do that, you just need to click on this add more groups button. And it will bring up the list of all your groups in the account. So you can see there we've got all our groups. In this case, we're just going to assign the member to this Willow Bend Investments group. And you'll see that that's come up there. So you can see which groups that you have assigned. There they will show up under the member. And then you just need to select what level of access they would like to have in the group. So you can see there we've assigned them as basic. But yeah, we've got 3 different options that I'll just talk you through. So at the group level, you can assign them to be a basic member, a standard member, or a group administrator. And a group administrator will just be the group admin for that group. So they'll be able to create content and assign permissions and things of that nature. And they'll be able to invite other people into that group and basically manage their members from the group perspective. And then we've got a standard member, and that's more for like creating content and things like that. So if you want them to say be able to create a folder or upload a file or create a note or reply to a discussion, you would need to make them a standard member if you want them to have a bit of like collaboration function. And then lastly, we've got the basic member, and that's more if you just want them to sort of log in, read documents, view them, and be able to comment. But you don't want them to say like actually upload anything. Then in that instance, you would make them a basic member. But we do have an article on our Help and Learning Centre, which is an overview of members. So if you want to look there to have a reference of the different types, you can access that on our Help and Learning Centre. And we have also edited the invite message at the bottom, so you can edit that now. So if you go and click into that, you can edit that at the account and group level. And then you can also, we've introduced the save button. So yeah, you can type in your new message and then save it. You'll make sure you know that it's been saved before you send it out. And then you can also use the reset button to reset it as well. So that's quite nice if you ever want to send out a custom message rather than using the same one all the time. So yeah, now we had a look at our feature releases. It would be really helpful for us to know which ones you will think about starting using after the session. So yeah, if you could tick the ones that apply to you and your company, that would be really, really great. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, it's quite mixed today, but it looks like all of them will be, you will be using. The most popular will be the task priorities, which is quite a nice feature, and the member rights update, and the view only guest share, and folder descriptions. So that's good for us to know that you can add them into your current processes. And I'll just point you towards our resources now. So if you ever need to find like help or anything like that, this is where you would go to access that. So firstly, this is just the view from within your portal. So you'll just need to go to the drop down, and then you can select that help button there, and that will take you directly to our help and learning centre. Equally, you can find it on our website just by typing in Clinked, and you'll see we've updated our website recently, so it's looking slightly different. But yeah, you just need to navigate to the resources section, and then you can click on that help and learning centre option. And then you'll be able to search for articles and things like that. So if there's a certain topic that you would like help with, you can search it in there. We also have like a list of existing articles that you can have a look at. And for webinars, you can access them on our YouTube channel. So yeah, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find recent videos and webinars, and yeah, we have been doing more videos now. So if you're interested in watching those or watching any of our older webinars, you can go to our YouTube channel to see them. And lastly, if you ever have any questions or like admin issues or anything you like updating or just general inquiries, or you have something like technical, you can email our support team at support@clinked.com, and we'll be happy to help with anything that you're having trouble with. And with that, we're just going to open up a question and answer session. So yeah, if you'd like to ask a question, please pop it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and say hello. But yeah, there is a chat box there. If you'd rather type it into the chat, that's totally fine.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah, and thanks, Anna, for a great presentation. As Hannah said, please do feel free to ask any questions if you have any in the chat feature, or you can use the Q&A function along the bottom as well. We've had one already from Richard, who's asked, what does recent activity mean in terms of the reporting on the latest activity? I think he means from one of the new features.
Yep. So the recent activity or the latest activity feature in the members section, that basically means it will show you the last time any of your members have performed any activity within the portal. So that can be anything from downloading a file, commenting on a file, uploading a file, or even just reacting to something. So it's just basically any of the events that will show up in your audit trail. Any of those will count as activities and will show, you'll be able to see when they were last performed from the members section.
That's great, thank you, Anna. We've had another question from Sarah, who's asked if there's a way to mark a file as read or downloaded in the folder.
Yeah, you might need to clarify that one. I think, do you mean like marking it as read as like overdue or a priority or something like that? Or you can use there's like red flags if you want to, yeah, make sure you're following that content, you can tick the red flag option.
Sarah just got back to us there. She said, don't want it to be a task. But yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just add to that. I don't think that there isn't currently a way for any of your clients to mark a file as read or downloaded. But as I said, there is the audit trail, so you'll be able to see who's downloaded a file in the audit trail. And you can also always submit a feature request on our public roadmap, which is roadmap.clinked.com. So you can always submit that as a feature request there.
Okay, thanks, Anna. We've had another question about if there is a limit on how many members you can invite to your groups.
No, in terms of how many members you can invite, there isn't a limit, but if you're trying to invite them all at once, we recommend if you're, say, trying to invite more than 20 to use the upload by CSV file option. If you're inviting more than 20, but yeah, if not, there's not really a limit on how many can be in the group. And then you can also, invite members to multiple groups at once. You don't have to just do it one by one. Now you can select multiple groups at once. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. And then we've had another question from Tristan, who's asked, when duplicating a folder, now that you have folder descriptions, do these automatically duplicate too?
So everything should carry across if you go for the duplicate option.
Perfect, thank you. So I believe that's all the questions we've had so far. If you do have any last minute questions, please do feel free to add them in now. But if you think of any more questions at any time while you're using the Clinked platform, please do reach out and use any one of the channels to get in contact with us. But I'll just pass back over to Hannah and Anna now just to finish things up for us today.
Yeah, so thanks everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed learning about our updates that we've released. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar or having contact with you on calls and things. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.